So we can start.
Yes, Swamiji. So, uh, so uh, the focus here is today we will be talking. Swamiji will be talking on tantra, and then with the tantra we will be doing some meditation technique and also doing a celebration. So the main thing I wanted to say to participants is that everybody is muted right now, and but please be a participant in this session. This is not a show or something, so please be participant. This is a guided meditation session, and we are extremely fortunate and grateful to be in the presence of Mapriya and Swamiji here uh,
Right.
to lead us into these topics. So there are some basic questions we will start that many of us have sort of heard about. Some few people know a little bit more, and many of us know nothing. So, I think almost all of us know that Osho has talked on the book, the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Uh, so, uh, what does this really mean, Swamiji? What is meant by what is the history of this book? Where did this book come from? Because people don't know anything about this.
Yeah. It was not a very popular book in India also. Many people don't know about it even yet. India is a big country. What is happening in the south, the east people living in the north, they do not know what is happening in western India. People in the eastern India do not know because of so many languages. Languages are the barriers. So these two books which Osho has spoken upon, one is Vigyan Bhairav Tantra and the other one is Shiva Sutra. These two scriptures of Shiva come from Jammu and Kashmir. So most of the Indians do not know about them. They were limited to the Kashmiri population only. It was called that Paul Rapps, the first American person who brought to Asia, he visited Japan and India very widely, and then later on he became a Buddhist. He changed his religion, he learned Jain, and he wrote a book, 101 Stories of Jain, which he became the first haiku writer in the West. And one of his famous books, titled as Jain Flesh, Jain Bones, he has put Vigyan Bhairav Tantra as epilogue of the book. The 112 centering techniques, he named it centering techniques. So this he got from Kashmir. The Brahmins in the Kashmir, they are quite different from the other Brahmins in India. And they have been practicing this since long. The historians say that in 11th century, there was a saint called Chemraj. He was the one who made this popular. It is called the Rudrayamal Tantra. That is the original name. From that Rudrayamal Tantra came the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. And one more thing I want to tell our Western friends. In India, history is not written in the same way as it is written and maintained in West. Here, we do not give much attention to dates and days and which year and where it happened. The main thing is what is said by Shiva. It doesn't matter when it was said, to whom it was said. The techniques are important, not the whereabouts. So in India, we don't find history in the same way as we find in West. Everything is documented. So this seems to be an ancient scripture, probably 5,000 years old, when Lord Shiva told these techniques to his beloved Devi Parvati. And in 11th century, this was documented well by Chemraj, and then Paul Rapps in 1957 translated it in English as Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, the 112 centering techniques. There was some debate about this also. Why did he put these techniques as epilogue of the Jain book? There was some controversy that techniques should not be included in the Jain books because Jain is beyond techniques. So there was a lot of debates about this and controversies. But as far as I understand, the tantric techniques are different than other techniques. So it is perfectly fits with Jain philosophy. So Paul Reps was himself a painter also, I would like to mention. Not only a writer, a poet, but a painter also. And he published the 10 bulls of Jain. These are the paintings. There is nothing written in it, only the paintings. He was a great painter himself, and he published this book. Osho has talked on this book also. The title is The Search. The talks on 10 Jain bulls, the paintings. So Paul Reps is a very important figure because Osho has really taken much from his translation, particularly the 101 Jain stories, Jain flesh, Jain bones, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, and one more book I would like to mention, that is The Gateless Gate. Osho liked the title very much, and he has given this title to compilation of his letters and some talks, early talks in 1971-72, The Gateless Gate. So this is a kind of Jain mixed with Tantra, with some Jain flavor. So this much history is known about Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, and these are the techniques given by Lord Shiva to Devi Parvati. Okay?
Another question is that how did this word come about? Like Vigyan means science. So what does it mean, Vigyan, and then what does Bhairav mean? Tantra, we know it means technique. So how are
Yes.
these names coming along?
With the changing time over the centuries, the meaning of the words also change. Not only the fashions change, but meaning of the words also change. In ancient days, in the time of Upanishads and Gita and Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, the word Vigyan was not used synonymous with the science as we use it today. Vigyan means Visisht Gyan, the special knowledge, the knowledge of the knower. That was the real meaning in the ancient time. Now the change has happened. Now we call Vigyan as science. So let us understand this. Really, Vigyan means knowledge of the knower, not the object which you know, but who is knowing it. That witnessing consciousness. When you know it, it is Vigyan. So please use the Vigyan word in that sense. Bhairav is made of three symbols, Bha, Ra, Va. These are symbolic of the Trinity of God as Hindus preach. You know very well about the Trinity of the Christians. Hindu Trinity is different. It is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. The word, English word God, we can divide as G-O-D, G standing for generation, creation, O for operation, maintenance, and D for destruction, dissolution. So the beginning, the middle, and the end. Everything is included in God. From the creation, generation of the whole universe, then the maintenance, the function of the Vishnu, and destruction, the function of the Mahesha. Creation is the function of Brahma. So this is the Hindu Trinity. Similarly, the word Bhairav stands for it, Bha, Ra, Va, symbolizing these three functions of the God. So it means the whole existence. The godliness in Osho's terminology, the divinity, the divine existence. That is the meaning of Bhairav. A Tantra you know very well, it means technique. So any methodology which can take us from the outer world to the inner, from the object to the subject, from the observed to the observer. That is Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, right?
That is very meaningful insight, Swamiji. One thing that those friends who have seen the book or heard Osho talk, we see that Parvati ji never asked for a technique in the book. So we say that there are 112 techniques. In the book, Parvati is asking a question, but rather than Shiva replying to the question, he is giving a technique. So is Shiva not answering the question of?
This is really funny. The book starts with Parvati's questions. She asks in a philosophical way, who are you? What is your reality? What is this wonderful existence? What is the real truth? What is the ultimate truth? She asks philosophical questions. But Shiva answers in a totally different way. He doesn't go in philosophy. He goes in existential techniques. He doesn't say what is my truth, what is the truth of this whole existence. He says, watch within two breaths, the gap between two breaths. He says, become aware of the sound which is echoing within you. Feel the weightlessness. Now, this has nothing to do with the questions, but if the seeker follows the instruction of the technique, he will know the reality, the ultimate truth, not only Shiva's truth, not only the truth of this existence, but the truth within. And it is same everywhere. The reality within you, reality within me, and reality within everyone in the whole universe, it's same. That is the ultimate consciousness. So rather than giving a philosophical answer to Parvati, Shiva gives techniques. And out of these 112 techniques, you can just select anything which suits you, which you feel connected with your heart. And the technique will work wonder, and you will know the reality. So rather than explaining, giving philosophy, putting in words, he gives techniques so you can know the truth yourself. So this is really good question you are asking. So let us do the same thing. Rather than explaining in philosophical way, we can also do some meditation techniques. Ma Priya is here and she can conduct that. Any more question about it?
Uh, uh, we will do what Shiva did, so we'll do a technique.
So before we go to the technique, I would like to mention a little difference between yoga and tantra, because yoga has become very popular not only in India but outside also. Yoga is masculine and tantra is feminine. Yoga is the path of willpower, sankalp. You have to do it. You become a doer. And tantra is a feminine way of surrendering. So in fact, you don't have to do it. You just feel it. It focuses more on feeling, more on imagination, more on sensitivity. So this is the feminine way. But nowadays, even the females have become more masculine, particularly in the West, and slowly the same thing is happening in India too. The same education, they are playing the same games, they are smoking and drinking, just following, behaving like men. Women have become more men-like. So for now, the pure tantra techniques will not be so effective. So we will make a combination. Let us start with little bit of yoga technique and then come to the point where we can follow the tantra technique very easy. For example, yoga also uses the breathing technique and tantra also uses the breathing technique, but there is difference. In yoga, you have to take a particular kind of breath, take in some particular time, hold it for some time, then exhale. Everything is decided. You have to do in this particular specific way. Then there are 4 kinds of breathing technology. One is Rechak, one is Purak, the other is Kumbhak, and the 4th is the inner subtle pranayam. There are many kinds of pranayam in which you can do something. In Tantra, there are 9 ways of breathing techniques, but there is nothing you can do. You have to be sensitive and alert about a particular part of the breathing. So this is totally different. So what we are going to practice today, first 5-6 minutes we will do some yoga technique. And before that we will do some energy rising, because a high energy is needed Only then we can become sensitive and aware and alert about the subtle gaps between the breath. So first we will do some exercise and then we will follow the techniques. So I will request Ma Amrit Priya to give a combination of yoga and tantra.
Dear friends, first I will read which the techniques given by Shiva to Parvati. Consider your essence as light rays from center to center of the vertebrae, and so livingness rises in you. Or in the spaces between, feel this as lighting. When breath is all out and stopped of itself, or all in and stopped, in such universal pause, one's small ego vanishes.
Ma, there
One's
are many
small
people
self
who do not
vanishes.
understand English. Will you please
I will
explain
read
in Hindi
also. These techniques are given in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Osho's book. So it is translated in Hindi. I'm just reading it. अपनी प्राण शक्ति को मेरुदंड से ऊपर उठती एक केंद्र से दूसरे केंद्र की ओर गति करती हुई प्रकाश किरण समझो और उस भांति तुम में जीवंतता का उदय होता है, या बीच के रिक्त स्थानों में यह बिजली कौंधने जैसा है, ऐसा भाव करो। जब श्वास पूरी तरह बाहर गई है और स्वतः ठहरी है, या पूरी तरह भीतर आई है और ठहरी है, ऐसे जागतिक विराम के क्षण में व्यक्ति का क्षुद्र अहंकार विसर्जित हो जाता है। तो नाउ वी विल एक्सपेरिमेंट द टेक्निक। इसमें हमने जो भाव है वो वी ड्रॉन द एसेंस, नाउ वी विल एक्सपेरिमेंट। सो फर्स्ट प्लीज yoga technique, and then we will combine the tantra techniques, and we have combined the three techniques together in tantra technique. Okay, so let's stand up and हम पहले कंपन करेंगे। We are going to shake whole body, vibrating the body, and उसके बाद उसमें महसूस करेंगे कि कैसे ऊर्जा का जागरण हो रहा है, और महसूस करेंगे कि हमारी रीढ़ की हड्डी जो है वहाँ से जैसे थर्मामीटर में पारा ऊपर चढ़ता है, ठीक ऐसे ही हमारी ऊर्जा ऊपर चढ़ रही है, अथवा दो हड्डियों के बीच में जो गैप्स है उसमें जैसे लाइटनिंग हो रही है, स्पार्किंग हो रही है, ऐसा महसूस करेंगे। लेट्स स्टार्ट शेकिंग द बॉडी।
So please stand up and just the first step of Kundalini. With the music start.
टोटलिटी से पुट योर टोटल एनर्जी। ऊर्जा ही ऊर्जा, एनर्जी, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। ऊर्जा ऊपर चल रही है, एनर्जी is rising। ऊर्जा का विस्फोट हो गया। Explosion of energy, great explosion of energy।
Light rays going up from the lower vertebrae to higher vertebrae. Just like a flame from earth towards the sky.
प्लीज सिट डाउन, बैठ जाए। बिल्कुल सहज रूप से सिट विथ इजी पोस्चर, विथ स्ट्रेट बैक, रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधी और सुखपूर्वक बैठ जाएं। इसके बाद हम एक संगीत बजेगा जिसमें आप सांस लेंगे एक पीस के साथ संगीत के, और एक पॉज आएगा और फिर दूसरा संगीत का टुकड़ा बजेगा, उससे आप अपनी सांस को मुख से छोड़ेंगे और फिर पॉज आएगा। संगीत के साथ सांस लेना छोड़ना होगा। मैं आपको शुरू में इंस्ट्रक्शन दूंगी, बाद में आप अपनी इंट्यूशन से चलते जाएंगे।
Feel the light, the energy moving up towards the head from your vertebral column. And after a minute, Mahapriya will give instruction with music. With the music, you will inhale. When the music stops, you will hold the breath. Then again with the music, you will exhale. Again hold the breath when the music stops. So this is yoga technique, and after this we will be able to follow the tantric technique. Just relax, enjoy this present moment, full of energy, more aware than ever.
सांस धीमी होती जा रही है। सांस लें, रोकें, छोड़ें, रुकें।
Inhale, stop, exhale, stop, follow the rhythm. Inhale, stop, exhale, stop,
सांस लें, रुकें, छोड़ें, रुकें।
always inhale from nostrils. You may exhale from open mouth.
अब अपनी सांस को सहज हो जाने दें. Natural breathing, no efforts. Natural breathing. There is a natural gap while you breathe in. When you breathe out, in between there is a gap. Just watch the gap. जब सांस भीतर लेते हैं और सांस जब बाहर जाती है, इसमें एक अंतराल है, एक गैप है. इस गैप को महसूस करें. जब श्वास पूरी तरह बाहर गई है और अपने आप ठहरी है, या पूरी तरह भीतर आई है और ठहरी है, इस ठहराव को पकड़ें. इसमें हमारा अहंकार अपने आप विसर्जित होता है. When breath is all out and stopped of itself, or all in and stopped, in such universal pause, one's small pause vanishes. Bring your whole attention between the gaps. You'll find as if you are disappearing.
This small gap between two breaths, only few milliseconds. Feel it. And in that feeling, your small self, the ego disappears. Your inner reality that is witnessing consciousness, it is there. The false identity ego is gone. Okay, Swami Paritosh ji, we can come to next question.
Thank you, Swamiji. Very difficult to go back to talking after.
Silence and talking and silence and talking.
This is the Jorba Buddha.
We have heard Raman talk about self-remembrance. We have heard Osho say talking about self-remembrance. Osho uses the word awareness for it. So why is it this so important?
Our awareness is usually extrovert awareness. We are aware of what is happening around us, but we are not aware about who is aware of this. So that subjective awareness is missing. That's why Maharshi Raman says, find out who are you. This is the most important spiritual question. Who am I? Who is this watching through the eyes? Who is this listening through the ears? Who is this? So we can call it self-remembrance or self-awareness. This will lead to Atmajnana, the self-realization. The more and more we become aware of ourselves, so the extrovert energy turns to be introvert. We are on the spiritual journey, and if we keep on moving in this way, finally we reach to the very center of our being. There is only pure consciousness, nothing else, without any identity. So our outer awareness turns inward as we use self-awareness, or we try to find out who am I. So of course the awareness starts from outside. First we become more aware of outside objects, then slowly we become aware of our body movements. Walking, walk with awareness. Eating or taking shower, be fully sensitive. Gradually this awareness then applies to our mind. The thoughts are moving, chattering. Okay, just be a watcher. Without interfering with the mind, watch as if you are looking from a distance. When you become capable of this awareness, then you can penetrate much deeper at the level of the heart, where feelings and emotions are moving. Watch them. And by watching them, they start disappearing. Finally, the consciousness is left alone. There is nothing to watch. Only the watcher is there. So this is the spiritual transformation. This is the point of self-realization. So that is the purpose of awareness, turning it from outer to inside.
Thank you. Another question comes is that many times we hear in Tantra and in other techniques as well that you visualize something. How can somebody visualize that they have not experienced?
Well, our visualization or imagination can be of two types. One is we can imagine something totally wrong which does not exist. Of course, that will not lead to self-realization, but we can imagine something, contemplate on something which is our reality. Of course, we don't know it yet, but the master has said, for example, if you feel weightlessness, just imagine weightlessness. You don't know it yet, but imagine you are weightless. And by this imagination, you will reach to your witnessing consciousness, which is actually weightless. The body has weight. Body is made of food. It is made of the matter. And of course, the gravitation of the earth pulls the body. So there is weight. But the consciousness is not made of matter. The earth cannot pull it. Not even a black hole can pull it. So there is no weight. So this is a reality that our real self is weightless, but we do not know it. But we can just imagine, and by imagining, we will catch hold of the reality. So there are two kinds of visualization. One is totally false. If I imagine I am the president of the country, this is false. But if I imagine I have no limit, this is reality. The consciousness has no limit, no beginning, no end. If I can even imagine it, I will come to the actuality. So there are two kinds of imagination. One can lead us towards delusion, hallucination, and one can lead us towards self-realization. So in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, there are many techniques which are based on imagination, visualization, contemplation, feeling, Shiva says, feel this. And if you can really feel it, become sensitive about it. Of course, in the beginning, it is imagination, a projection of the mind, but it is matching with the reality. So sooner or later, you are going to jump from the imagination to the actuality. So this is how the tantric techniques of visualizations work. Okay?
That sounds very much like we do in math. Start some X, and then you find the value of X. Another thing I heard you say earlier is Tantra is more feminine and yoga is more masculine. And in the current
I can't hear. Can you please speak loudly a little? Again, repeat.
yeah, so I heard you say earlier. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard you say earlier that Tantra is feminine and yoga is more masculine. So, but in the current world, which is so stressful out there, everywhere there is a competition, there is a fight everywhere. So the natural tendency will be that you become more masculine, adopt the way of the yoga. So,
Yes.
what is the role of tantra in the current world?
Well, the basic and the climax of Tantra technique is witnessing awareness, as I already told you. You become self centered. So, in the modern stressful world, this can be very useful. If we start feeling centered in ourselves, then the tensions and stresses of the life do not disturb us anymore. Of course, there is fast speed, things are going on outside. But inside, there is no movement. If we can be centered in our stillness, in our inner silence, then the crowd and the noise of the crowd will not disturb us. So Tantra can be really very useful if we can just relax in the center, becoming aware of the awareness itself, then nothing bothers. You are moving in a train or traveling in a plane or you are in a traffic jam on the road, doesn't matter. You just feel centered and you will be surprised. All that stress, outer world, they are far away from you. You can watch them from a distance, and that's the wonderful result of the Tantra technique without doing anything. For example, I just mentioned you, look at the small gap between two breaths. If you become aware of that gap, you have reached to the vast consciousness. And these small things outside do not bother you anymore. So in the modern world also, of course, yoga will be more applicable, but those who have practiced yoga, now they can practice Tantra because this is very, very easy. You don't have to do it, as Mapriya said, be effortless. In yoga, there is effort, there is action. You have to do it, you are a doer. And with the doer, you cannot be totally egoless. Doer means ego. You are doing it, you are there. But in Tantra, there is no doer. The breath is coming by itself, going by itself. You are not manipulating, you are not interfering, you are just watching. And similarly way, you are watching your thoughts and emotions, you are watching what is happening outside, and you are unaffected. So Tantra can be a revolutionary technology for the modern stressful world. Is that okay?
Yes, it is. And Ma, can we try a tantra technique again?
Sure. We are going to experiment another technique. This technique says, see as if for the first time a beautiful person or a ordinary object. And eyes closed, see your inner being in detail, thus see your true nature. And another one, suppose your passive form to be an empty room with walls of skin, empty. हिंदी में किसी सुंदर व्यक्ति या सामान्य विषय को ऐसे देखें जैसे पहली बार देख रहे हैं. तो आए इसके बाद आगे है आंखें बंद करके अपने अंतरस्थ अस्तित्व को विस्तार से देखें। इस प्रकार अपने सच्चे स्वभाव को देख लो। तो इसके बाद है अपने निष्क्रिय रूप को त्वचा की दीवारों का एक रिक्त स्थान मानो सर्वथा रिक्त। तो नाउ लेट अस एक्सपेरिमेंट। तो सबसे पहले हम इसमें विस्मय बोध के ऊपर टेक्निक है ये कि वंडर से देखना है, सी विथ वंडर एज इफ वी आर लुकिंग फर्स्ट टाइम द ऑब्जेक्ट। तो हम एक वीडियो दिखाएंगे और उस वीडियो को आप पहली बार देखेंगे, ऐसा फील करें, जस्ट सी द वीडियो एज इफ यू आर लुकिंग इट एज फर्स्ट टाइम विथ वंडर आईज।
So we will be playing a small video for 3 minutes with some Om written in it and moving. Feel as if you are a small child looking at something for the first time in the world. This feeling of wonder and surprise takes you into thoughtlessness.
With great surprise, because we are waiting still, so just
It takes about 1 minute to play the video. इसको हटा दे रहे हैं।
देखना शुरू करें। प्लीज स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट दिस वीडियो। Without blinking your eyes. Gazing at the Om. Now, please close your eyes. आंखें बंद कर लें और अपने भीतर उसी आश्चर्य बोध से देखें. Now, see within you with great wonder. बंद आंखों से अपने भीतर के स्पेस को see the inner space. दोनों भौहों के बीचों बीच थोड़ा दृष्टि को दूर ले जाकर देखें. In between your eyebrows, just see as if you are looking the object from far away. अपने भीतर गहराई, जैसे कुछ दूर से देख रहे हैं. 2 इंच दूर से देखना शुरू करें, बंद आंखों से. See within you 2 inches far away. Keep on extending. दूरी को बढ़ाते जाएं. और दूर, और दूर, far away. बंद आंखों से आपकी दृष्टि जितनी दूर जाती है जाने दें.
Just imagine your body is empty. There is nothing inside, completely empty. The skin is surrounding it, an empty space, just like walls of a room. Empty room. And this room is just vast, like sky, a limitless sky. There is only awareness and nothing else. You are this conscious sky.
सारी सीमाएं खो गईं. All limit has disappeared. Now you are limitless. असीम फैलाव है, great expansion. There is no boundary. सीमा विहीन विस्तार. Infinite sky. यह विस्तार, ये इन्फिनिटी हमारा स्वरूप है. This is our true nature. Full of consciousness.
Take few deep breaths and come back from this limitless experience again in the world of limits. So we can discuss little more again the words, but remember from these words we will move to the wordless, from the sound to soundless. So Swami Paritosh ji, we can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very difficult to come from one place to another. One question is that you heard in one where Shiva talking about liberation and also about bondage. I think that both are relative. So how are both relative?
Wow, this is really funny question. And in the time of Shiva, 5,000 years ago, it was almost impossible to understand this. But now, particularly after the invention of the theory of relativity in the early 20th century, now we can understand it logically in a much better way than ever before. Everything is relative, not absolute. So if there is liberation, it is in relation to the bondage, and the bondage is in relation to the liberation. I would give an example. Suppose one person is living in a prison. After a long time, he is relieved from the prison. Of course, he is out of the prison, he is now moving in the city, but somehow inside his mind, he feels like a prisoner sometimes, particularly in the night, in the dreams. He may dream what was happening in the prison. He lived there for many years. So from outside, he is free, but somehow inside there is still bondage. That prison continues to linger on in his mind, in his dreams, in his sleep. But after some time, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, even the dreams will disappear. Now we can say he is totally free from the prison. This freedom is relative to the bondage. Now, after giving this example, let us come back to our own self. Just in the meditation session conducted by Mapriya, you must have felt that limitless consciousness, a kind of freedom within yourself, an empty sky. Now, what is the reality of the bondage of body and mind? In that moment of centering, there was as if no body exists, no mind exists. The body has disappeared, the weight has disappeared, the mind, the thoughts, the emotions, everything is gone. You were totally free from the bondage. Is the bondage real or imaginary? Our identification with the body mind are not real. If they are not real, then the freedom cannot be absolute. The freedom is also relative in contrast to this imaginary bondage. So this is really funny thing to understand, very non-serious thing about the spirituality, that our true nature is always like this, it has been like this, and it will be like this. The ultimate freedom is there. We have never lost it. Let us take one more example. Suppose you are sleeping, having a dream. You slept in USA and in dream you have reached China or India. And when you wake up, will you say that I have returned back from China or India? No, you will just laugh at it, that it was a dream, it was an imagination. It was not real. So your going to a foreign country was not real. So your returning back is also not real. Can you get this point?
Yes.
You have not traveled, in fact, anywhere. You have not gone, you have not come back. So the same thing happens when we reach to our center of consciousness, our authentic real being. Then we come to know that it was just a dream-like illusion, that we felt bondage with the body, bondage with the people, bondage with the situations outside, bondage with the thoughts and emotions, etc. So all that was false, dream-like substance it is made of. So if the bondage is illusory, then the freedom cannot be solid. It is just waking up from the dream. So this is very, very important to understand that the consciousness has been always free, it is free, it will be free. But it has the capacity to dream. That is also the freedom of consciousness, it can dream anything. Even to be in the prison, to be in the bondage, the consciousness can dream. But it is imaginary. So of course the moksha, the nirvana, or the ultimate freedom cannot be the real. It is also in contrast to this dream, in contrast to this imagination. It is difficult to comprehend, I can understand, but this is how things are. And Shiva is putting it very rightly, that liberation and bondage are relative. Okay?
Very similar to what we heard Osho talk on Buddha. So that's the imaginary solution for an imaginary problem.
Yes. Placebo medicine for the false mental disease.
Yes. Yes. One thing we have heard or heard and learned is that tantra is a way of acceptance. Uh, and we have also seen within our own being, and also seen scientists talk about that a human being is very animalistic. So, is it not a risk or a threat or a possibility that a person who is going to the path of tantra can become more animalistic rather than getting transformed?
It's good to understand this mechanism. Suppose I have anger, okay? I get angry on people. If somebody doesn't follow me, doesn't obey me, I lose my temper. if I accept this anger, normally what we do, we start fighting with our own anger. Particularly the people who are interested in spirituality, in meditation, they start fighting with themselves. They don't accept it. They say, no, I cannot accept anger in me. I will destroy it. Now, this is more perverted anger. Anger upon anger itself. This is a very complicated situation. Tantra says, accept whatever is there inside you, your feelings, your desires, whatever. Don't say this is good and this is bad. Pap and punya, the virtue and sin. Don't label anything. Just accept. If I am ready to accept my anger, yes, I am angry. This is how nature has created me. By accepting this, the anger disappears. Because the root cause of anger is non-acceptance. Suppose I told something to someone, you have to do something like this, and he didn't follow me. I am not accepting him, that's why I'm becoming angry. So the root cause of anger is non-acceptance, rejection. If I accept my own anger, this is part of me, then I am relaxed. I have accepted. And by accepting, don't think that I will become more animalistic. I will become more divine. A Buddha-like, a Shiva-like. I am ready to accept my own negative things. And they are there because of non-acceptance. The moment we accept, they just disappear. Just as we make the water warm and hot and a point comes, it evaporates. Similarly, acceptance is the key word. You accept anything and you will see it is disappearing. Because in acceptance, you are relaxed. And when you are relaxed, how can you be angry? Both things cannot happen together. And once I have learned this technique upon myself, I can apply the same on anyone and in any situation, and then anger will disappear forever. So from the outside, it seems that if we accept our desires and feelings, our natural instincts, they will grow. The reality is not so. Just the opposite will happen. Whatever is good, it will grow. For example, if I accept my love, that love will grow. But if I accept anger, anger disappears. If I accept that I am hateful, I am jealous, by accepting this, jealousy will disappear. So don't take it philosophically, theoretically, just practice it and see how wonderful technique it is. Acceptance. And finally, whatever is good, virtuous, that remains, and whatever is wrong, it disappears, because for it to rooted in our consciousness, non-acceptance is needed. If I hate something, somebody, some situation, or I hate something within myself, I'm rejecting it, I'm not accepting it. That's the meaning of hate. I don't want it, I'm fighting with it. If I accept it, the fight disappears. And of course, with that, the hate also disappears. So similarly, it applies to all the good and evil things, the desires, whether it is emotion or natural instincts. Okay?
Yes. Is Tantra the path of indulgence, or maybe the path of more into sexual indulgence?
Yes, many people in the world think in that way, that Tantra teaches indulgence in sex. But the fact is, if you read those 3 lines, out of 112, there are only 3 lines about sex. It is not for indulgence. Shiva is saying to be aware in the beginning of sexual act. Be so aware, so conscious, that you never reach to the orgasmic peak. If you become really conscious, the orgasmic peak never comes. Sex disappears. This is what I was just telling you in the previous question. The second technique is just go into the trembling, the energy rising during the sex act. If you become sensitive to that trembling, that shaking of the body, again you will feel the lust has disappeared. And the third technique is not to go in the sexual act, but just remember your past experience. And that remembrance itself will bring the transformation. When you remember it, you are watching it from a distance. You have become a watcher. And you have become so conscious, and sex needs unconsciousness. So if somebody just reads the book from outside without experiencing it, he will think that Shiva is in favor of sex. But if you do the technique, you will come to realize that he is trying to take us beyond sex. So he's not teaching indulgence, he's teaching to do the sexual act in such a conscious way, meditative way, so it takes you from sex to super consciousness. That is the meaning of Osho's title, From Sex to Super Consciousness. And I really wonder, so many people in the world just misunderstand Vigyan Bhairav Tantra as some book of sex. It is not true. Osho has given 80 discourses, almost 125 hours on these techniques. And you know, these three techniques, number 48, 49, and 50, he has talked about half an hour only. Maybe 35 minutes, not more than that. Out of 120 hours, for about half an hour, he talked about these Tantra techniques. And remember, this is not for indulgence, but for becoming so conscious, so aware of the sexual act that the lust disappears. You just grow in more and more conscious. So whether it is sex or anger or hate or jealousy, all these things require unawareness, unconsciousness. When you become alert, witnessing them, you become separate from it. And then the real tantric sex happens. You never reach to the orgasm. Shiva says in technique number 48, just in the beginning become aware. So it is not for indulgence, it is for transcendence. Okay?
Yes. Now there are 112 techniques. So what is the, for a layman, what is the common thread between them? Like what is the fundamental basis of these
Okay. When Osho was talking on these techniques, he mentioned himself that I was searching for years and years. What is the common thread in these 112 techniques? Just like we are wearing mala, there are so many beads, and there is a thread which is holding this mala. What is that thread? And Osho said, it took many years for me to find out that it is the witnessing consciousness, the watchful awareness, that is the thread. So this is one thing. And one more thing I would like to mention. Out of these 112 techniques, if you ask me which are the most important techniques, so if we go by count, by numbers, I would tell you Shiva gives us 13 techniques to listen the soundless sound, the Anahat Nath, as it is called in India. What the Jain people call the sound of one hand clapping. There are 13 techniques for meditating upon the sound. Then less than 13, there are 12 techniques for looking inside and realizing your consciousness is full of divine light. So the first most important is divine sound, second most important is divine light, and third There are 9 techniques in the beginning of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, which are based on breathing methodology. You have to become aware of a particular point of the breathing process. So if we go by numbers, 13 techniques for listening, 12 techniques for looking inside, and 9 techniques of watching the breath. So this comes to almost 33, almost 1/4 or more than 1/4 of the technique, 112. If we can practice only these 3, listening, looking, and breathing, the miracle would happen. That's why if you can want to forget everything about 112 are too many, okay, just remember 3. Listening the soundless sound, looking at the divine light within, and remaining aware of the breathing process. These 3 things. Then Osho has said, if you want to come to the minimum, even want to forget all these, okay, just come to Om, the soundless sound, 1 technique only. Listening to Om within you. And he says that Shiva told Parvati, if Om, these 3 letters A, U, M are too much for you, then I will put to the minimum, just you in the middle. Forget A, forget M. Come to this vowel, U, this sound of U, and this will do it. So we can make 112 techniques very short. So 3 things. There is 3 letters, A, U, M, and if you want to come to only 1 letter, then that is U. And I would request Mahapriya, after our talking is over, to conduct a meditation techniques relating with divine sound. So let us have one last question now.
One last, maybe two sandwich questions.
Okay, okay.
The question is that we did few techniques and we are going to do one more. How can so many seekers out there in the world, they can learn and practice more about the remaining 110 techniques? That is part A. And part B is many friends have been messaging and they are asking, they're pretty curious about what is sannyas, the mala, what is the sannyas, and how can somebody get the sannyas, and how does that go together? It's a 2-part quick question. Then we enter into meditation.
Okay, so let me talk about the first part first. We are conducting online meditation camps, these programs, on every alternate week in Hindi. So those who know Hindi language, they can join us. We are conducting 1 session in the morning, 1 session in the evening, according to Indian time, 6:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. So this session lasts for 90 minutes each. So there are total of 14 sessions in 1 week, and we usually start on Sunday. In these 14 sessions, we conduct different kind of techniques taught by Osho, whether it is in yoga or in tantra or in other technology. He has talked a lot about Buddha. We are going to start from tomorrow what Osho has taught us in Ace Dhammo Sanantano. That is the name of title given to the discourses on Dhammapada. He has spoken on Dhammapada in English as well. So by this we can understand he has given too much importance to Gautama Buddha. He talked in both languages. This is unique. He has talked in both languages only on Kabir, Buddha and Lao Tzu, only 3 saints. Otherwise, what he has talked in Hindi, he didn't tell in English. What he has talked in English, he didn't tell in Hindi. So only these 3 great masters, Buddha, Lao Tzu and Kabir, he has talked in both languages. So from tomorrow we are going to start a series on Buddha. We will listen to Osho's discourse from this series, Es Dhammo Sanatano in Hindi, and whatever message is given in that particular discourse, we will do it practically. Mahapriya usually conducts the meditation technique, so you can join this. Then on alternate weeks, we have the program in English. And according to the time, whether people are joining from England or USA, so we arrange time according to them. So it is their morning and evening. And our Swami Masto Baba is conducting that in English. So 1 week in Hindi and 1 week in English. So you can join whichever you wish to join and according to your times. The other question you are asking about what is sannyas and how to take this mala initiation. In old language, sannyas means renunciation. But Osho has changed it from renunciation to celebration. Nothing to renounce, no austerity to be done. Let us enjoy this very moment. Be a master of your mind. Live in alertness, in loving awareness. So alertness inside and love outside. Osho talks about Jorvadi Buddha. We have to live in the family, we have to earn our money, we have to do our job, take care of the family, do whatever you want to do, plus add meditation in it. 1 hour at least every day. 23 hours you give to the world and worldly affairs, but at least 1 hour you give to yourself. Just sit silently, use any technique, whichever you like. There are so many techniques. You can try any technique for 3 days. If something clicks in your heart, if you feel this is perfectly for me, suitable for me, then you just follow that. Then you don't have to try anything else. If in 3 days you don't feel something clicking, something very good, drop that technique, try another one. So this way you can try many techniques. Sooner or later you will come to a meditation technique which is suitable for you. So add in your life. So for sannyas, there were many things in the beginning, mala and clothes, a particular kind of clothes. Later on Osho said, let us keep to the minimum, the essential, and that is meditation. If you wish to wear mala, perfectly fine. If you wish to wear particular kind of clothes, during the time of meditation, you can wear them. It is up to you. It is no more compulsory, but meditation is compulsory. So sannyas is not renunciation. It is celebration of life in a meditative way. And you are asking about Mala Diksha. This initiation we give online every month on full moon night. So next full moon night will come on 1st October. So we will conduct this initiation. We will listen to Osho's discourse, what he has talked about sannyas and mala and initiation. And we will arrange things in exactly the same way as Osho has wanted. In that discourse, he has said that I want that initiation should happen in this way. There is no master, there is no guru. Direct initiation from godliness. And he has given the whole technique how to do it. So we help this every full moon night. You can join it. If you want to have a mala, of course you have to order at least in 15 days in advance, so it can reach you by courier. If it doesn't reach by 1st October, you can try next month. You can order mala. We will give the phone number and addresses to get mala for you. So Paritosh, I think this is enough.
One question, sorry.
Yeah.
Where can you mentioned about retreats or meditation camps on Buddha? The question is that where can people know more about these happenings? Like, is there a website? And are you planning to have a? One friend is asking, are you planning to have a retreat on Tantra as well?
Okay, you can find out information from our website. It is www.oshofragrance.org. So you can find from our website. We also have a mobile app which is downloadable on Android phone, not on iPhone. So it is called O Meditate. Small O, then Meditate, O Meditate. So you can download freely from Google Play Store, and this you can get all the information. And we have already planned many programs till December. So after December, we will plan next Tantra. We have already done one Shiva retreat, and we have used the Tantra techniques recently in last month. So next it will come in January probably. We are using all the techniques given by Osho. There are so much variety. Of course, Tantra is one of important, but there are so much variety he has given. Recently we did on Gita, and then on Mahavira also. And one we are doing right mindfulness, that is the word Osho has used, the last word in his last discourse, Sammasati, that means right mindfulness. So we have designed a meditation camp for 7 days on right mindfulness. So there is a great variety. You can join anywhere, anytime. You are most welcome. So now I request Mapriya to conduct the last meditation session for today.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, yes, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The technique is intone a sound as a Om slowly. As sound enters soundfulness, so do you. And again, stopping ears by pressing and the rectum by contracting. Enter the sound. And another one, when on a bed or a seat, let yourself become weightlessness beyond mind. ओम जैसी किसी ध्वनि का मंद मंद उच्चारण करें. जैसे जैसे ध्वनि पूर्ण ध्वनि में प्रवेश करती है, वैसे वैसे तुम भी. अगली, कानों को दबाकर और गुदा को सिकोड़ कर बंद करो और ध्वनि में प्रवेश करो. अगली टेक्निक, जब किसी बिस्तर पर या आसन पर हो तो अपने को वजन शून्य हो जाने दो मन के पार. तो आए इसके एसेंस को हम करते हैं, कैसे हम इसमें इसका अनुभव कर सके. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू एक्सपेरिमेंट द टेक्निक. तो साउंड लाइक ओम, जस्ट चेंटिंग द ओम मंत्र विद मी. हम ओम का गुंजार करेंगे एंड वी विल बी लिसनिंग आवर ओन वॉइस वाइल वी आर चेंटिंग द मंत्र. जब हम मंत्र को गुंजार करेंगे, अपनी ही आवाज़ को सुनेंगे एंड फील द वाइब्रेशन हैपनिंग इन योर बॉडी वाइल यू आर सेइंग ओम. अपने भीतर जो वाइब्रेशन होगा, जो आपको एक वाइब्रेशन महसूस होगा ओंकार का, साउंड का, ध्वनि का, उसको भी महसूस करना और ओम की ध्वनि को जो आप कर रहे हो वह सुनना भी. तो करना भी पूर्णता से, सुनना भी और उसके असर को भी महसूस करना. ओके, लेट अस स्टार्ट. क्लोज योर आईज. बंद आंखों से, रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधी, with straight back, chanting Om. शांत हो जाए और अब मूल बंध लगाकर अपने रेक्टम को सिकोड़कर अपने भीतर कानों को बंद करके हम ध्वनि को सुनेंगे। तो संगीत बजेगा, आप संगीत के बैकग्राउंड में आप अपने कानों को बंद कर लें, इंडेक्स फिंगर से बंद कर लें।
Close your ears with your index finger. Exhale out, contract your rectum and listen. Keep on repeating this.
बाहर पूरी सांस फेंककर, बाहर रोककर सुने।
After a deep inhalation, exhale again forcibly. Let your rectum contract upward, navel center withdrawn inside, and listen.
पूरे फोर्स से सांस को बाहर फेंकें। एक्सेल and hold it outside and listen within you. One sound is going on. We will be repeating this again and again, exhaling through the mouth, completely exhaust, empty yourself, and just contract the anus. Squeeze your stomach in and just listen. As long as you can hold it, hold it. And then again exhale through your mouth.
Soon the outer music will stop and the inner music will become clear. The silent music, the soundless sound, the sound of one hand clapping.
Just like cicada sound.
The body's empty room covered with skin, and inside it is echoing with the divine melody. Listen.
It is resonating, buzzing. अद्भुत शांति उतर रही है. A great silence is descending on you, and this silence is resonating.
This mysterious sound doesn't belong to body nor to the mind. It is the music of consciousness. And while you are listening, you are beyond body and mind, weightless, limitless. Congratulations to all those who have heard this divine melody, and those who have not heard today. Please keep on practicing this very simple technique, humming the sound of Nath Brahma. Do with closed ears, particularly after exhaling, contracting your anus, hold your breath outside and listen. When you become familiar with the sound, then no need to do the technique. You can just listen without doing anything. Technique is needed only in the beginning. So Swami Paritosh, now we can come to the conclusion of this session. The time is already 9:09. We are late. Please open your eyes and we can celebrate before
Yes.
departure.
Yes, yes. It was divine, Swami. It was super wonderful, and the short 90-minute felt like a mini retreat actually, because we packed
So we are in timelessness also, weightlessness, bodilessness, soundlessness, and timelessness.
yes, yes. Yes, Ma, and you packed so many beautiful answers and the techniques, and we conclude with the celebration.
Let us sing. I'm going to sing a song, and I think you all will repeat with me. Try to repeat.
Just remember Osho with this song.
He's around you. प्यार का जिंदा ताज महल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताज महल हो, ओशो मेरी जाने गजल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताज महल हो. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. घेरे है जो कुल हस्ती को, घेरे है जो कुल हस्ती को, घेरे है जो कुल हस्ती को, खुशबू का ऐसा बादल हो, खुशबू का ऐसा बादल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताजमहल हो. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. जिसमें हर सू जगमग तारे, जिसमें हर सू जगमग तारे, नूर का वो महका चल हो, नूर का वो महका चल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताजमहल हो. रूप तुम्हारा प्रेम का जादू, जादू जादू जादू, रूप तुम्हारा प्रेम का जादू, रूप तुम्हारा प्रेम का जादू, कैसे ना ये दिल पागल हो, कैसे ना ये दिल पागल हो. होशो मेरी जाने गजल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताजमहल हो. हर लम्हा मस्ती का सफर है, ओ हर लम्हा मस्ती का सफर है, राह मेरी तुम ही मंजिल हो, राह मेरी तुम ही मंजिल हो. होशो मेरी जाने गजल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताजमहल हो. भीतर बाहर अनहद बनकर, अभी हमने सुना अनहद, भीतर बाहर अनहद बनकर, गूंज रहे तुम पल प्रतिपल हो, गूंज रहे तुम पल प्रतिपल हो. होशो मेरी जाने गजल हो, प्यार का जिंदा ताजमहल हो. Let the way of the heart, Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart, let the way of the heart shine through. Love upon love upon love, all hearts beating as one. Light upon light upon light, all disappear into one. प्यार का जिंदा ताज महल हो, होशो मेरी जाने गजल हो. प्यार का जिंदा ताज महल हो, ओ, 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 जय ओशो.
Jai Osho.
Very, very divine, very, very divine. So grateful, so grateful for your soulful voice and
Thank you so
Thankful
much.
to you.
Thank you.
And
just a
thanks to
beautiful.
Osho who has provided this
Yes.
great opportunity to meet with so many friends and share what about Tantra and this song.
Yes, so grateful, Swamiji, and we do hope that inshallah you will come again and enlighten us on some other aspects of the treasure of Osho.
So we can meet again after a month.
Yeah, whenever we are all in, so grateful.
Let's wait whenever Osho arranges.
Whenever Osho arranges, whenever.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, and lots of love.
Good night from
Good
India.
night.
It's your morning. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tēnjī māgō kōntō kāra tō sāngjē yōnggō lā yī, tō shī shī jī nō rā sī chēnrē sī rā chā sī, sāngjē kū yī rō rō mō yā rā tā wō kū sī, chēnrē sī shī chēn sī, tā kō rā sī rā chā sī, tē. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum.